headphone there. Okay. Good morning.
Bhante. Everyone,
Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bhante.
How are you?
Good morning, Bhante ji.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bhante ji. From Germany.
We're happy to see you. We're happy to see you.
Happy to see you. What all of that. Okay.
Francis Filler.
Lose connection. Today, I'm trying to devise. All right. Okay. Now you can see me.
Yes, Bhante.
Yes.
Yes, Bhante.
Okay. Today I'm going to give you a very, very simple Dhamma talk. Even a little child can understand. And that is, you find in Samyutta Nikaya, is called the young. You find it in what you call in Khanda Samyutta. So one day, King Kosala went and saw the Buddha in the Jetavana monastery. This may be the first time King Kosala met the Buddha. Kosala is very, very powerful king in Magadha state. And according to this discourse, the king Kosala, this was his first visit. However, he has heard about the Buddha because his reputation was very widely spread. And he went to him and asked the Buddha, how was he doing? Are you all right? Venerable said, you get your food, your robes, lodging, medicine, and all this. And are you in good health? No headache, no stomachache, and so forth. You don't have any health issue. Buddha said, no, I'm okay. Then your disciples are doing well? He said, yes, they are doing well. Then they had a very friendly, lovely, memorable conversation. Then after this memorable, friendly, cordial discussion, since he has not seen the Buddha, he did not know what to ask. So he sat on one side and he said, Venerable Sir, I went to see very famous ascetic called Purana Kasyapa. He is an elderly person and has a lot of experience. Many people respect him. And then I asked him questions. Then they say they are famous, and they also respected by their own disciples. And they declare themselves in public that they were all attained full enlightenment. And therefore, they are also very famous. Then they were living very simple life, very with contentment. And some of them are so simple that they don't have an attachment even to their clothes. And therefore they don't wear clothes. Because if they wear clothes, they become attached to their clothes. So some of them went naked, in short. That is, one of them is Purana Kassapa. And there was another one called Makkali Gosala. Gosala means he was born in the cattle pen. And there was another one called Niganta Nathaputta, and that is Natha's son. And then there was another one called Bellatiputta, the Bellati's son, and Kachayana, Pakuta Kachayana, because he also is very famous for his reputation. Then there was another one who was wearing a cloth that was made up of hair, and therefore he was called Kesakambal. Then there were people among those days who were discussing, arguing who the enlightened person is. And then they say the enlightened persons are not now real enlightened persons. He would appear in many hundreds and thousands of years later in future. And therefore people talk about among themselves, since there are no Buddhas, we must practice loving friendliness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. That is called the discussion about the Buddha. And then there are also people talking about the universal monarchs. All these are the discussion. I think then King Kosala went to King Kosala asked some of them, he did not want to go to them. He asked some of them to come to his palace and asked them, since they were very elderly, senior, very popular, many followers, with long hair, long beard, and so on, gray hair. So he invited them and asked first maybe Purana Kassapa or Ajita Kesakambala. He invited them to the palace and asked, are you really enlightened? Then if they said that they were enlightened, they thought the king would ask them questions that only enlightened person can answer. And if their answers are not that perfect, king would get very upset and punish them. Out of the fear of punishment, even though they were telling people that they were enlightened, but in front of the king, Kosala, they did not say, we are not enlightened. So then king got very upset. You were declaring in public that you are enlightened. When I ask you right now, you say you are not. Then he kicked them out of the palace. Then when they went to see King Kosala with their own retinue, their own followers. When they came out of the palace, their followers asked them, why did you say that you are not enlightened? They said, if we say that we are enlightened, king would ask questions, and when we answer, you may not understand our answers. Therefore, he will get demerits. He collect unwholesome karma by insulting us. And therefore, we did not say enlightened and so forth. Therefore, they were double standard. They said one thing to the king, another thing to the lay people, other followers, and so forth. Then, finally, he went to see the Buddha. And he mentioned to the Buddha, Venerable Sir, I asked so and so and so and so whether they were enlightened. They look very elderly, lot of experience. They all said they were not. But Venerable Sir, you look very young. And therefore I suspect even those elderly persons declared that they had not attained enlightenment. I'm wondering whether you attain enlightenment because you are so young. You look young. Then Buddha said to the great king, do not underestimate the person looking at his appearance. There are 4 things that you should not underestimate because of their size or apparently youthful appearance. Or they are too small, either youthful appearance, young, too small, and look very simple, innocent. What are the 4 things? Number 1, a prince coming from a royal family. Second, a snake. Third, fire. Fourth, a bhikkhu. Why is that? What is the big deal? Now, a prince of a royal family, if you belittle, underestimate, talking in insulting language, thinking that he is a child, he is not matured, and doesn't know very much, this little prince will remember this. And one day, after his father's death, he will succeed to the throne and become a king. Then he remembers your insult and he can do very severe punishment to you. and he may punish not only you, he severely may punish your friends, your family members, and perhaps he can destroy all of you. You know, there was a story. Vidu Daba. Vidu Daba was the son of, I think, Ajatasattu. Vidu Daba one day went to Sakyan family, and Vidu Daba was born from a slave girl. The slave master raped her and born this boy. But he was raised as a prince. So he visited the royal family, Buddha's family, and after visiting, they gave him a seat to sit down. After their conversation and meals and so forth, they all left. After they left, somebody began to wash the seat. Vidu sat down. And then one of his servants returned to that house he forgot something to bring it back. And then they saw somebody washing the seat that Vidu sat on, saying that this slave girl's son sat on this chair. They were so foolish and ritualistic. They follow all kind of rituals, superstitions. That is why they thought if this Vidu slave's son sat on the chair would get polluted. So they were cleaning it. Sometimes that happened even today in some places, in some religious places. So Vidu this message got back to Vidu. Then he waged war against Sakyans, and he not only destroyed that family, he destroyed entire Sakyan families, Buddha's tradition, Buddha's family. So this is how they take revenge. And therefore, people should not insult a boy coming from a royal family, thinking that he doesn't know anything, he's just a boy, say whatever you like and so forth. So Buddha said, this you have to remember, not to insult a boy coming from royal family. Number two, second is serpent. You may think a little serpent, what can he do to us? He's so tiny. You pick him up and try to, play with him. This fellow is poisonous. He has a lot of venom. And then he strikes. It doesn't matter how small the snake is. Once he strikes you, inject a lot of poison into your bloodstream, you will be very great danger. Either you will have serious sickness or you may die. Therefore, don't be a little snake, thinking that he is very young, very small. And the third is fire. If you think that this fire is small spark, you take it and put on your lap and keep playing your computer games. Very soon you will find your clothes is on fire or your house is on fire. So anytime fire, no matter how small it is, it can burn down houses and villages. And therefore, don't play with fire. That is why people say, don't play with fire. No matter how small, don't underestimate the size of fire. It has the same effect. And the fourth is bhikkhu. Now this especially refers to the Buddha. Even though Buddha looks very, very young. He is 100% fully enlightened. He was so enlightened, friends, that we have no words to explain the qualities, attributes of the Buddha. He was perfect in morality, concentration, and wisdom. He was able to see many millions of previous lives, eons and eons of the past he can see, and he also can read anybody's mind. That is why when he delivers Dhamma sermon, everybody, even thousands of people are in the audience, each of them thinks that he talks to him or her, because he knew people's indriya pariyatti. That means their development of their spiritual faculty, their faith, saddha, viriya, sati, samadhi, panya. These are called spiritual faculties. Each person's spiritual faculties grow differently according to the person's previous practice. Some people have great faith, and Buddha's sermon appeals to those people. Some people are very energetic, enthusiastic. So Buddha addressed them when he delivered sermons. Some people's mindfulness is very sharp and clear, and he delivers sermons according to their needs. And some people have concentration, very good concentration, and Buddha delivered sermons according to their needs. And others are very quick-witted person, panya, wisdom is sharp. So he saw people, they are called Uggatitanya, Vipanchitanya, Nyaya, Padaparama. Uggatitanya, he knew person who can attain enlightenment very quickly as soon as he hears a very short Dhamma talk, like a lotus bud coming out of lake, and as soon as the sun rises, this lotus buds blossoms immediately. And there are people like that. You don't need too many discourses, too many meditation, too many instructions. One sermon, one little words is enough, immediately attain enlightenment. That is what happened when Venerable Kondanya listened to the first sermon. He attained stream entry right then and there. And he knew that. Although Buddha looked very young, he was only 35 when he gave the first sermon. And then Buddha knew some needs little delay attainment. They need listening to Dhamma, remembering Dhamma, practicing Dhamma, associating with good Kalyana Mitta, and have mindful reflection, yoniso manasikara. When you do all these things, when he does all these things, that person can attain stream entry and so on. And the third person takes even longer time, learning, reading, discussing them, associating with good friends, and meditating, and having mindful reflections, and so forth. He does all these things, and he comes to the teacher again and again, ask more and more questions, get his doubt clarified. Having done all these things, that person can attain stream entry. And there are also other people who are called Padaparama. Padaparama are those who learn Dhamma, discuss Dhamma, read Dhamma books, associate with good friends and so forth. They cannot, no matter how hard they try, they cannot attain enlightenment in this very life. But learning Dhamma would be helpful to them. So the Buddha gave sermons to them. Sometimes some Samaneras, very young Samaneras, 7, 8-year-old, may be fully enlightened. And that person can enlighten others and can give Dhamma sermons. For instance, you remember King Asoka in India. King Asoka, having waged wars, killing many people, he was so upset seeing the people crying, dying, burning, losing their hands and legs, and we saw blood and people without hands and legs and so on. Their wives were children, wives were crying, children were crying, brothers, sisters crying. Seeing all this in a battlefield, you don't see anything pleasant in a battlefield. He saw this battlefield. He won one battle after another. And finally he was in his palace, very sad, very much regretting. Then he was looking through his window in his upper chamber of his palace. Through the window he saw little novice was walking. He did not underestimate him. He simply called him. He looks very young, living, like little child. He called him to his palace and asked him to select a seat to sit down. Then this little novice is so small, but he knew, he was very confident. He knew his position. He found there was a king's throne. With great difficulties, crawled into the king's throne and sat down. Since the king was so he was impressed, this little novice looked like his great-great-grandchild. When he crawled into the throne, king said, "Okay, since you sat on my throne, give me a Dhamma talk." So he gave a very beautiful Dhamma talk. He said, "Appamado amata padang, pamado machuno padang, appamatta na miyanti, ye pamatta yatha mata." Mindfulness is the path to deathlessness. Mindfulness is the path to death. The mindful does not die. Unmindful is dead already. That is the simple meaning of this stanza. As soon as he heard this little sermon, of course he recited the stanza and explained the meaning in full. When he explained the meaning of this stanza, king, all his sorrow, his pain in the heart, lamentation, grief, all vanished from his mind. Unfortunately, since he has killed so many people, he could not attain extreme entry. But he was very pleased, and since then he decided never to wage any war any time in his life, and he became a follower of the Buddha. Now, the Then he started building temples, monasteries, pagodas, and memorial pillars, and then rock edicts, and built various rest houses for people, built hospitals. He built hospitals even for animals hospitals. And so forth. He did a lot of work in India after listening to Dhamma, becoming a Buddha's follower. So the Buddha said, therefore, O Your Majesty, don't belittle, underestimate a person, seeing the person's size, seeing fire for its size, seeing snake for its size, all this, and little monk for his age and size. So therefore, you must try to respect all of them. And by the way, by appearance, you cannot conclude your decision. Therefore, you must have respect for those persons by associating, listening to them, and so forth. Then, since this was the first time that King Kosala met the Buddha, at the end, King Kosala said, Master, Venerable Sir, it was so wonderful. There is a standard passages people recite after they were convinced, they were happy, they were pleased, they aroused their faith and trust in the person who delivers the sermon. So Buddha said, the King Kosala said, Abhikanda Mogotama, Mikujitanga Kujaya Parichananga Vivaraya Mula Samaganga Chekaya, Andavareva Telebachona Dareya, Rupan Dakinti. So that means he said, these four similes he gave. One simile is, suppose you have covered something with something. You close something, put something down and cover something. So you turn it up to see what was hidden in that pot so that you can see inside. Then it is just like opening a door for you to see what is inside, or like bringing a light into the dark area so that somebody who has good eyesight can see what is in the dark. What is this darkness? Ignorance. Ignorance is compared to darkness. So you brought the light. What is this light? Wisdom, right understanding. Number one in the Noble Eightfold Path. You made me understand things rightly, correctly. Or you explain them just like somebody in such a way that somebody who is bewildered, confused, and got lost in a desert. You came and led the person to a township or village. Just like that, I was bewildered, confused, did not know how to, who to follow, what to follow, where to go. And you showed me the way very clearly. And therefore, these are the four images. And then he said, therefore, Venerable Sir, from this moment onward till my death, I follow you, I follow the Dhamma, I follow the Sangha. This is how he became Buddha's follower. So, now this is how people those days became Buddhist. They first listened to Dhamma very carefully, and then they learn the Dhamma. The mind becomes very clear and understood the Dhamma, and then this is called in Pali avecchaprasada. That means Saddha, faith endowed with knowledge, not without knowledge, not blind faith. King Kosala from that time on, he did not attain stream into anything. But as an ordinary lay person, he became very, very good follower of the Buddha. Buddha aroused his faith, confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. And then he said, Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, 3 times. Nowadays, as a tradition, when we start a ceremony, this is the first thing we do, ask people to take the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. But this is not the way that people in those days took the refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, refuge, and followed the Noble Eightfold Path. And some of them attained even liberation from samsaric suffering. Now, this friend is the very simple talk that even little child can understand. I hope you understood some of these things and remember them and follow the teachings of the Buddha. I think this may be enough. Now I want to end this session with our regular Dhamma, what do you call, metta recital. Metta recital. So you can see that.
We can see. It's okay, Bhante.
Okay. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, May all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother who risks her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. Okay, friends, let us continue our meditation. By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the foolish, may I join always with the wise, until the time I attain Bhavana. May the suffering be free from suffering, may the fear struck be free from fear, may the grieving be free from grief, so too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So friends, it's very great pleasure to have you all with our Zoom talk. And I want to share my personal metta with everybody who is suffering in hospitals, taken care of by very compassionate doctors, nurses, and hospital staff. May they all recover very soon and return to their regular life, practice Dhamma, and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. May all those doctors, nurses, hospital staffs who have been sacrificing their comfort, dedicating their life, risking their life to take care of these patients, may they continue their compassionate work and practice Dhamma and attain samsaric suffering. May all those, as we have mentioned, who are grieving their death, their loved ones through COVID period or even after that, may they be free from their grief and practice Dhamma and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. May all those who are in war zones, trouble spot, discrimination, poverty-stricken area, may they be free from those unfortunate situations and find time and place to have some solace and comfort and practice Dhamma and attain liberation from suffering. May all those who are, whose categories I mentioned or not, may you all be well, happy and peaceful and attain liberation. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you.
Sadhu,
Thank you,
Sadhu,
Bhante.
sadhu, sadhu.